Hi there and welcome back to my animation channel. Thanks very much for joining me. Today I'm putting together a section which I'm calling Life Imitating Art. As you know, I've completed the first part of The Painter Goes on Safari, and recently I was fortunate enough that my partner Karen, who is the production assistant on this series, had the fortune of actually hitching a ride up to the Zambezi in a caravan, much the same as what the painter flies in. So she was fortunate enough to be able to take some footage of the experience. So I'm using this footage that she captured to compare with the actual animation that we've already done and show how very close life indeed has imitated art in this case. We did the animation before we shot this footage, but there's extra footage that we have captured that will be used certainly in the rest of the movie. So sit back and enjoy the comparisons. There's a lot of flying for those of you who like flying in small planes. It's a lot of fun, and just sit back and enjoy. So the plane that the painter flies in is a Cessna Caravan, and we can see the very first difference here between the plane in reality and the plane in the movie is it doesn't have the underbelly storage section that's very distinctive of a Cessna Caravan. We can also see that the access door in this case is on the right hand side of the plane, and I put it on the left. In actual fact, there's two access doors at the back, and the one on the right is a narrow access, and the one on the left is more for larger cargo, etc. It's a wider door, and that's the one I made our characters walk out of. The choice of doors exiting to the left was just the opening scene setup. I wanted the characters to walk behind the plane so that when they appear meeting the game ranger, and when the pilot Mike meets a game ranger, it's the central scene to the right, and it's like a cast walking off the wings of a stage left. So that's the reason why I had them exiting on the left hand side of the plane. The reason I didn't put the underbelly storage on the plane in the movie is I wanted it to have a retractable undercarriage, which the Cessna doesn't have, because I wanted it on the opening scene when it blasts through the clouds and nearly obliterates the logo bird in the opening scene. I want it to look fast and sleek and more like an aircraft without a fixed undercarriage, which this Cessna Caravan has. So that's the reason why it didn't have either the undercarriage or the storage compartment under the belly. So here in the takeoff scene, you can see the undercarriage of the plane in the movie retracts, and here on the video from the Safari, the actual Safari, the undercarriage is very well fixed when the plane's at altitude. So it's not a retractable undercarriage, but as I explained, I wanted to change that to have a sleek, fast look, which the Cessna Caravan doesn't have. In this real-life Safari fly-in, the plane approached from the north, from the Zambian side of the Zambezi River, and Zimbabwe is in the far side there. Did quite a tight turn to the right over the Zambezi River that borders the two countries, and the airfield is in view. The airstrip in the movie differs to the airstrip here on this video because it is tarred, whereas in the movie it is dirt. I wanted to leave it dirt because a lot of the bush airstrips in Africa are still dirt, and also I wanted the effect of dust when the plane turns around and exits, leaving the painter at the airstrip. So in the movie, the plane also takes a right bank. It's flying over a lake, whereas in the video here we're still flying over the Zambezi River. A tight right bank, just like in the movie, where the plane comes in tight, banking to the right, and then drops its undercarriage, which we've already ascertained the Cessna caravan doesn't have. And here's a bit of artistic license as the plane comes into land. In the real life video there's the noise of the tires making contact with tar, but I've used a similar noise in the movie, but perhaps you're not going to have that same noise as tires hit dirt. So a bit of artistic license there. Like in the movie, in reality the aircraft runs all the way to the end of the airstrip, turns around and goes back to the park bay. In the real life video, the turn is not so spectacular as the plane is on tar and there's a wide parking area type place. In the movie the plane turns around on dirt in quite a tight space, and it's quite a violent turn, and there's lots of dust. And then life really does start to imitate art as springboks are spotted.
Springboks! Look, I missed it. I'm looking on this side of the plane.
Unfortunately not by the videographer Karen, but they were certainly at the end of the runway. And here in the movie are the 3 springboks at the end of the runway that leap off before the plane lands. And then just like in the movie, the plane does a right turn on the taxi and comes into park. Here is probably one of the biggest coincidences or case of life imitating art. The chap in the brown pants here with the blue t-shirt is the game ranger that's been sent out to pick up the passengers, and his name actually is Moses, just like in the movie. And there's a fire extinguisher on the edge of the park bay, just like in the movie. This pilot wasn't actually called Mike, like in the movie. And there's Moses. His real name is Moses, waving to us. In the movie we see the plane leave with a ball of dust behind it, hitting the painter. But in reality, this plane was being tied down here at the tail end of the plane for a few hours before it left, so no quick departure like in the movie. Here they're taking the luggage out of the storage compartment under the belly of the Cessna Caravan, which we don't have in the movie. There's the vehicle, the ranger's vehicle, that belongs to the Zambezi Lodge that they were visiting. And just as in the movie, it's the Toyota Land Cruiser, which is more popular now than the old Land Rover of old. The engine compartment flap is opened on this Cessna to let the engine cool. And in the movie, the tourists leave dragging their own luggage. But in reality, there were some guys to help these ladies with their luggage, ladies and gent. And then the Land Rover leaves. It's a short drive to the lodge along a nice dirt road through the African bush, which has been well captured here. This is in the fading light just before sunset. And then here's some nice shots of the Zambezi River from the lodge, the Zambezi Lodge, showing the sun setting. And I'll probably use some of this as reference going forward, because there will be some sunsets over a river or some water in the movie. And that's it. So just an interesting case of life imitating art.